that break that I took really was based on a situation where life kind of dealt me the kind of cards that I couldn't handle at the time. I found myself as a single mother and I wasn't prepared for that. So I think the heartbreak card was just too much for me. I think for me, I was graced to have a very good sense and a knowing about what I was going to do from a very early age. I think it must hurt to grow up in a place, to grow up with the people, and then to be told because of where your parents come from or where your parents were born that you are not part of this place that you've called home. I think the mistake that we often make as people is believing that we do all we do in our own strength, and then when life reminds you that, hi man, there are things that are beyond you, you get back to that place where you get back on your knees.
Baraki Os Malehloka Hlalele, known to you and I as MALEH. That's the stage name. Like, share, subscribe, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the community. We keep growing. We'll keep on building this thing step by step, episode to episode, and storytelling. What I love about today's episode is that I didn't get any profile, so it's going to be authentic and real. And then she was trying to give me the profile because the team didn't send me the profile. I was like, no, don't. Let's make this to be ordinary. Because this was meant to happen on radio.
It's been a minute. We've been trying to organize.
We kept on missing each other.
A moment with you, yeah.
Massive Metro, it didn't happen. I think you did some interviews with other colleagues of mine.
Yeah, with Penny at a point. Yeah.
Yes, with Os Penny.
Yeah.
And then I think I was on Metro at some point. Limo, we missed each. I think the career was still starting those days.
Yeah, 2010.
Yeah, years ago.
Yeah.
Now we're older. We're mature. We are parents, right? And it's happening now.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you. I'm a proper fan. And in let's make
it happen. Yeah, why not?
During the people, let's promise each other that. Yeah,
let's make it happen as soon as next week, if you've got time, or the week after.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The fact that the energy allows it.
Yes, sir.
And we both want it. I would be very honored.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful year this year. 2024 seriously has been one filled with just gracious moments for me in my career. 21 years in.
Has it been 21 years?
21 years.
Sure, congratulations.
Yeah, and you just don't know where the time really has flown to. But since my release of my first debut album in 2010, that was my solo album.
Yeah.
There's been a lot that's happened, and I think this year has really allowed me to kind of come full circle. A lot of great moments happening for my career. So, yeah.
What kept you going? I want to contextualize this question this way.
Yeah.
There's an artist that they deserve to be here, but they're here. But they keep going. Some people fall off because they give up, or other people, life happens. Either they have kids, they get married, or they change careers, whatever it might be, right? But you're just one of those people who just never stopped, who've just never stopped. And as you're saying, it's 21 years this year.
Yeah.
What kept you going?
Honestly, truthfully, I really look at it as grace. If I'm honest about just the foundation of my career, it's really been God's grace. Like you say, there are people that I look at that I started off with who are no longer anywhere to be seen in the industry because it got difficult or just life circumstances
and it's expensive.
got in the way. It's expensive, so I've been just driven, I think, by just the pure passion of what I do and the love for creating songs that carry people through different chapters and phases of their lives. And I think there was a time in a period in 2017 that I stopped, which was my first of the longest breaks that I've taken in this 21 years, for about 4 years or so, where I was off of the scene in terms of not performing per se, but definitely still writing, still reflecting, still trying to figure out how I get back up again. So I think it's really been the drive, and also having the people in that moment that I was away asking me, when are you coming back? What's going on? We need you to hear more. And so I think definitely that relationship with your fans that you create over the years is one thing for sure that kept me persistent about coming back.
What's different now from then?
That break that I took really was based on a situation where life kind of dealt me the kind of cards that I couldn't handle at the time. I felt like everything around me had come crashing down. I found myself as a single mother, and I wasn't prepared for that. So I think the heartbreak card was just too much for me. I fell out of love with making music as well. The songs that I wrote were very angry at the time, and it was a very different reflection from who I've always been as an artist. And it's always been about love. It's always been about my relationship with my creator, and I'd lost that. I think I'd lost that connection at that particular moment. And I think it was good. I think as artists, when we go through difficult seasons in our careers and in our lives, it is expected of us to put pen to paper and to share those emotions, and for me, it's always been a counseling kind of session that I have with myself when I write songs. So I'm in a different place, because I think I understand now, post that experience, that it's beyond just me. It's not just about my love for music or my passion for music. It's about the impact and the inspiration that it offers as a gift to people who need it. So I operate from a different place as a result of having gone through something like that. And I think I definitely view life differently after overcoming a season in my life where I was ready to give up.
They say musicians or creatives create some of their best work, if not their best work, when they go through hardships or heartbreak.
Sure.
Why weren't you writing?
I was writing.
Oh, but you were not relancing.
I didn't release.
And performing.
I didn't release. This recent album titled Lerato Laka is a result of some of the latter years of the 4 that I had taken a gap, And like I say, the first of the songs that came out of me in the first part of that season were very angry. And, I think it was, just natural kind of, reaction to the situation. And I released one, I can't even remember the name of that particular song because I don't care for it too much. I think it was called Walk On By or something like that. I released one and people came back and were like, what's going on? Are you okay? This is so unlike you, And so I think that really helped me to reflect on, why it wouldn't work for me to continue with those kinds of songs. Lerato Laka is the album that I was then able to put together after the search for loving myself first. Again, getting back to who I was, getting back to the dreams and the aspirations that I had before having been in a relationship where I let go of a lot of those dreams and aspirations. And I think rediscovering just that I had tenacity as a woman, that I was going to be able to overcome the disappointment that life had dealt me, is where I put pen to paper. And so, yeah, you're very right. I think it's one of my best works. I think a 17-track album. For all the time that I was away, I think 17 tracks is pretty good
Yeah.
to come back with.
Yeah, at least it's good enough music.
And good explanations.
It's a roller coaster journey of different emotions, right?
Of different emotions. And I think, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed that season as well. I found love again. I got married.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and it was during the lockdown period as well, where we did a song that, has really touched a lot of people's hearts, titled Gitlo Fihla. Where, the song really speaks about, taking a journey and finally getting to that place of destination. And I think for a lot of us, that's how we feel about life. Sometimes we don't feel like we're actually at the place where we ought to be. And it was very much inspired also at the time I was pregnant with my son. So, a lot happened in that space of time, and I really put my heart out there. Yeah.
And let's talk about the biggest creation you'll ever create is obviously your children.
Yeah.
Your son.
Yeah. So I have two children, an older one who's a girl. My daughter's 10 this year.
Congratulations, my daughter's 10 too, yeah.
Right?
She's turning 11 in October, yeah.
10 headed to like 16 if you ask me.
I know, same here, 10 but like headed to 16 or 18,
exactly,
They're just too bright, they're amazing.
Yeah, I think children are such a blessing and have definitely, I think my kids have just re-inspired my life, and the importance of what I do. I feel like it counts more because I really want them to see this woman who went after dreams and who chased after them and didn't give up even when things didn't add up. Yeah, so they're incredible. And they understand. I think they're so great and are very forgiving with the kind of career that I have,
Do they really understand what does mom do?
I think my daughter's now more than ever starting to get it. She said to me the other day, my friends at school said they know your song. And I was like, yes, that is my mom, So
yeah.
It's dawning on her, just that, obviously the work that I do is in a more of a public platform. But I think just in terms of, how busy it gets and, traveling and being away, sometimes I'll go for a performance and she'll see that I've been, a little bit apprehensive or stressed about the putting together of things. And she'll say, Mommy, come, let me pray for you. And she, pulls me to a corner and she'll put her head on my forehead and say, God, please help my mommy today to do very well. So I think it's just lovely how wonderful just children are and what they bring to life's experience. Yeah.
How's married life or marriage life?
Married life is fantastic. I think it's fantastic when you receive the husband you've prayed for.
Yes, ma'am.
I prayed for this one. I wrote him down and I gave descriptions about who I want him to be, how I want him to receive myself and my daughter. And I think God certainly answered those prayers. I think it's also great to be in marriage when you've come to a place where you understand that your joy and your happiness needs to come first and foremost from I think for me it's been a relationship with Christ. My relationship with God first is what feeds into my peace of heart and mind and my happiness. So I don't expect or I don't put unrealistic expectations on the man to fulfill that aspect for me. And I think that makes it, that makes us experience a far more, peaceful kind of relationship. There's, we don't put pressure on each other to fulfill joy out of each other. I think when he's in a good place and I'm in a good place on our own individually, then we are able to make for a beautiful marriage.
Has he also gotten to understand the type of career that you've chosen, the type of work that you do?
He's absolutely supportive. He's in the industry as well.
Or is it? That's
yeah,
better.
He's an artist,
that's
creative
better. Much
rather.
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think in that regard, I don't have to explain much about where I'm going, what I'm doing, and he's genuinely he's got my back all the time. So it makes it a lot easier. to not have to explain those kinds of things, why Mang Mang after the show was hugging you too closely.
Yeah,
I had to take a picture.
And why is this one
things
commenting
that.
like this on your
No,
Instagram?
and what's going on? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't get that kind of pressure from him at all.
Yeah. Let's take it many years back. Where are you from? And tell me about your upbringing.
So.
And why did you choose this industry? You know, like opera. Is that even a career?
Is that even a career? Oh
Until
my gosh.
you get a hit, or until you know.
Yeah, we had to deal with those.
You know how careers are.
Yeah. So hi ke Lesotho originally ke motango hatlalele ngwana mantete a morapedi ngwana petula le kana molala ngwana le besela khomu le retang so kene hlofeng that's who I am.
So you're born in Lesotho?
Born in Lesotho.
Okay.
My mom worked in the Free State as a social worker, and we've been living in South Africa since I was about 4 years old. I think for me, I was graced to have a very good sense and a knowing about what I was going to do from a very early age. As early as like 5, 6, I was with a hairbrush in hand in front of the mirror singing to Mariah Carey, you know, watching Mariah Carey on Pop TV, you know. So
I remember music TV.
Yeah, I knew very early on that this is what I wanted to pursue. Like you say, you know, I think it's difficult for parents when they parents in our time, I think, you know, because
we are understanding.
Yes,
to our kids
for sure. And I think it's understandable.
There's different natures of creative industries. The space is evolving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we sort of are now more allowing of our children to explore.
Yeah.
But our parents,
yeah, it was a big question. I mean, the big reference was always Mahlatini, and you know, the unfortunate you know, kind of narrative that he faced as a musician who was exploited and all of that. So that their concern was, you know, very much understandable, and it was great. You know, how do you think you're gonna make this kind of industry that has, you know, sharks? I'll go look at the sharks in the industry.
Yeah, and toxicity and drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely.
Groove,
jive and all of that. I think they were very concerned for me. But I never let up. I think in grade 10, I insisted that I wanted to go to boarding school in the bigger city, which is Bloemfontein in the Free State, mainly because I knew if I could move to Bloemfontein, I would find a recording studio. And if I found a recording studio, I could record that thing they called a demo and send it to a big record label. I'd find my DJ Spoo, you know.
yeah, I get you.
At the time, and be discovered by somebody. And so, you know, as early as grade 10, I was in Bloemfontein. I managed to get them to send me to boarding school, and it didn't take me 2 months. I was in the studio. I found a studio owned by a guy called Bobby Johnson, Rebirth Studios. Shout out to Bobby. And that's where I met a group called Kaya. They're still very much existent, but it was back in the days of Bumalaika, Mafikizolo, Afropop days. So it was that formula of 3 guys, 1 girl kind of situation. Yeah, and that's where I met them, and we recorded the first debut album in 2003. Yeah, that's why I say 21 years, 2003.
Oh, so you were part of a group before you went solo?
I was part of a group before I went solo,
okay.
yeah. And we had the fortune of being signed to CCP Records.
Yeah, you remember CCP?
Yeah.
But you still look like 22, 23.
Thank you, Daddy. Yeah, Vusilu was our... he was our A&R at the time.
Yeah,
he's the one who kind of picked up on the group, gave us the opportunity. We released a song titled Gunzima. That was our first big hit.
Yeah.
And that's what won us a 2005 Metro FM Award.
Yeah.
As the best newcomer group.
And I also would like to contribute in adding on some of the flowers that
Yes,
MALEH is
yes.
giving Abuti Vusileo. Same here. You know, you helped us create TS Records.
Oh,
And we have to
wow.
give these flowers so that our children and Ntate Vusileo's children
Absolutely.
know what their father did
Absolutely.
in the industry. He helped us to set up our company, and he played a mentor figure
Yeah.
in us creating TS Records. So I'll
Yeah.
forever be grateful to
Forever
Vusileo.
grateful. Same here. I mean, he's definitely that go-to person still for me today in the industry. I can still call him up and say, hey, Tate Vus, contract again, and I don't understand, and I'd like to get an understanding of what has really been put out here. And he always makes the time out to help us with any questions that we have with business-related aspects of. Yeah, he's great.
And let's talk about the group and the evolution into a solo career, the start of it.
Yeah, I mean, so, ultimately when the album came out, I had just entered film school at AFTA. So my first year, I took the second year off of film school to pursue the project, and that's when we won the award. And then unfortunately, the reality hit that if I don't go back to school, I might never go back to school. And the pressure also came obviously from, my folks about, what was my intention really with regards to, completing my education. And it was important to me. I think it's something that I always say to young people: as much as you might have a gifting and a talent, as long as you have the opportunity to, it would be very helpful to, while you can, grab that degree, expand yourself. And so I had to leave the group because I had to go back to school. And that's kind of how that fizzled out.
How did that conversation go with the guys?
When you're young and you're experiencing stress for the first time, to the point where, like, your, I don't know if it's called, your lymph nodes at the back of your neck swell up. I was stressed. And it was one of the hardest decisions I've had to make, because we were now technically at the peak of what we've been working towards as a group. And, it was just unfortunate because they were still based in the Free State and I was studying in Johannesburg. So, it was a hard one. I'm grateful. We're still like brothers and sister till today. I'm still in touch with them. I work, one of them is my agent in the Free State, King Davis. And so I think, it just was what it was. And there was nothing that could have been done around making sure that we stuck together. And they moved on and they found a replacement. Yeah.
And then you went on to study.
I completed my degree.
Finished. What degree was it?
Film production,
cinematography.
cinematography.
You did film production and cinematography. Boss.
Cinematography. Yeah. And I think I was passionate about it, and I'm very much looking to kind of now diversify and get back into television as in terms of production. But I think, after graduating, that music kind of drive came back, and I still wanted to, discover more about myself in music. And so I decided to start releasing some singles, and I got the opportunity to work with DJ Cunis, and we did a track titled Uzongilinda.
Yeah, that was a big song.
Yeah. That was a huge song. And it was maybe a year or two after having left the group. And I just couldn't keep quiet anymore. I was like, I need to sing again. And I went a completely different direction, because then obviously that was house music. But I think for me, it's always been, in terms of music, I've never wanted to restrict myself to any kind of genre. I think I love music just throughout the board. And I think when he, brought the track, and it was a song that was already written, I just loved it, and I jumped on it. And that's what led to Kent calling him to check in if I couldn't do another song with him, and then Falling came out of that collaboration.
That even became a bigger song.
Which
Falling was a big song.
Still is, I was in London 2 years ago, and they call me Malay Loka. And I mean, one of the main songs that they want me to perform is Falling to Date. So yeah.
Let me rewind you a little bit.
Yeah.
We all sit down and we're like, okay, what am I going to call myself? Geez, there's already a Smoo. Smoo, I'm a lawyer. DJ Smoo. You're going to confuse the market. Come up with a unique name.
Right.
But that's
my name. Yeah.
Nah, I'm going to stick to being DJ Smoo. It's okay.
Yeah.
How did that come up? And I'm sure maybe even just, are you just going to call yourself your name? Because we used to, people are like, no, call yourself another name. But no, I'll just take a bit of my name. How did that come?
So I mean,
MALEH, right?
Right. So MALEH actually was a result of kind of like an African kind of consciousness that came upon me in high school, and when we were introduced to bands like Bongo Muffin and Taniso Mazwai, being the proud Xhosa girl that she was and is till, you know.
King Ta.
Yeah, you know, she was so instrumental in how I viewed myself. Bane bampitsa Mary skolong, unfortunately.
Oh, you are Mary, go classing.
For the longest time, you know, I was Mary. And then I started listening to Bongo Muffin. I was like, no, man, my name is not Mary. I'm an African, you know what I mean? And so I insisted, call me Malehloka, call me Malehloka. And eventually it kind of got broken down to the nickname Male. And then that's where on stage we decided to kind of give it a little bit of flair. Malay at the end, you know, just in terms of pronunciation.
Yeah.
But that kind of, I was already calling myself Malay in the group, Kaya. And so I just carried on with it, really. Yeah.
The curse of visiting a different genre or exploring, and then that song blows up, and then people might just mistaken you for a house artist.
Right.
What happened to you? Because I know it happens with a lot of artists, right? So you do Uzonglinda, then you do Falling with DJ Kent. That becomes big.
Yeah.
What does that do? Does that add on to whatever you're doing, or does that disturb the market in terms of the type of genre that you were in and what you're trying to build?
Yeah. I mean, at the time, really, I guess I was writing according to what I was given, but I know that I always knew that ultimately I'm an Afro soul artist. And when Falling went huge, I had been working with a producer who was a jazz producer on the album that was going to be my debut album, which was released in 2010. And we were going in opposite direction completely. And so when we started sampling the tracks to, you know, some producers, getting some opinions from people in the industry, more of them were really against the idea that I was going to release an album that had nothing to do with house music at all. Not even one house track on the album, you know? So, I mean, we got a lot of people, you know, saying, guys, is this really going to work? We don't think it's going to work. People have already been introduced to this artist in this genre, and we think you're making a huge mistake, you know? But I had to be authentic about who and how I wanted to present myself as an artist. And I think there was no question for me. I had to do it my way. And so the first album was titled Stepchild, and that was the first single that came out, and it's a very R&B kind of, you know, soulful track. Nothing to do with house music, but the way it was received, I always just thank God for, because it was, you know, obviously a time I was very anxious about what was going to happen, how people were going to receive the music. But I think we did a great job. Universal was the label that signed me. It was a joint venture with the producer's label at the time. And so they really pushed the track, and it really was well received. Thank goodness for me.
And then the World Cup passes. And can you believe that's already 14 years ago, though?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Can you believe it? Like the World Cup was, the fever was just World Cup. Now we're on 2024.
Yeah.
Okay, before we continue, I'm going to take you back to the current conversation that's been happening in the country. Like last week or the week before, Miss SA.
Yeah.
You say, you know, coming from Lesotho, you were 4 years old when you started out in the country. What were some of your opinions as the whole country was talking about? I think it's Chichi.
Yeah.
was one of the contestants for Miss
For
SA.
Miss SA.
And then the whole conversation started. Me, now all along in my life, I've always thought when you're born here, you're a citizen here. I didn't know, and it doesn't just automatically happen.
Apparently,
And I think it was a beautiful,
changed,
teachable moment.
Yeah. I mean, look, my understanding is that law changed maybe over 10 years ago or something like that. I'm not sure exactly when she was born that she would gain citizenship if she was born here. I'm not sure when she was born.
No, that's 23 years ago. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
in your case, I'm sure you could relate with that conversation.
I do relate. I relate because I was born in Maseru, I was born in Lesotho, but like I said, from the age of 4, I've been living in the Free State. So as much as I represent Lesotho, Kimosotho, and I'm very proud of my heritage.
Jump aboard,
I also very much consider myself a Free State girl because that's where I grew up, that's what I know, and this is, South Africa has become home to me, so... I think it's an unfortunate turn of events, obviously, with how the whole case has kind of unfolded. But I think just on a personal level, for somebody who grew up in Soweto, I think it must hurt to grow up in a place, grow up with the people, and then to be told because of where your parents come from or where your parents were born that you are not part of this place that you've called home for all these years, and I feel, it has many dynamics.
It does.
It does have many dynamics, and, what is legal and not legal about it obviously has its place, but I think on a personal level, it must hurt, and my heart goes out to her for sure.
I had a great conversation with DJ Fresh, similar conversation as well from Botswana.
Yeah.
We know him as a South African. It's like you.
Yeah.
We know you as a South African. But it's
sure.
always nice to get into these conversations and the legalities of these things. So I kind of feel like that was a needed moment, especially for our current youth.
Yeah.
Obviously, minus the people that can get toxic on social media.
Yeah.
But I think that teachable moment, we needed it. Because
Yeah.
even old as I am, a 45-year-old grown-ass man,
Yeah.
some of the things that I learned over the past few weeks, I didn't know.
For sure.
So I'm glad a whole lot of other people learned a lot of things as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think, the reality is that we live in a world where people are travelers. I mean, we have South Africans who live in other parts of the world, who find love in other parts of the world, who settle down in other parts of the world, whose children must still have the right to want to connect and also to relate to South Africa, even if they are not born in South Africa. And then to have the right to feel like wherever they do grow up and experience their life is home for them as well. So, yeah, these borders, man, when you're an African and you think about it, I think it's sad that we had systems come and tell us that, you cannot cross these lines. I think we should consider the idea again of a united Africa.
Okay, let's come out of those conversations.
Yeah.
Let's come back to the artistic convo now. The first album happens, it hits the market, you're touring, you have another, 6-year run.
Yeah.
And then the break happens. Was it a forced break? Oh, you did say that you went through a lot.
Yeah, I had been in a relationship with my father's daughter, which did not work out. And it had been, several years, I think about 7 years that we were together. And we worked closely together as well. So, yeah, it was that was the main reason behind having to regroup and rediscover myself, Yeah.
Comparing then to now, how has the industry changed or evolved for you?
I miss the days of the
Because when you're that era, I was
CDs,
about to say, you're that era the CD.
Those are the good old days. Nobody should tell me different, I don't know. I think obviously there are positives and there are things about how the industry has evolved that's helpful to artists. I mean, today I own my own record label.
Nice.
I was able to release my own project through the label. And, we went through a distributor called Orchard, which is good and well. But it's good to say you own your own master, which is a result also of what happened with the previous work. So when me and the producer went our separate ways. He took the master and he completely removed it. It's not available online at all. Yeah.
So both of you are not making money.
Nobody's making anything.
But it's pointless.
And it's pointless, and you've taken away.
And we, the fans, we want the music.
And the fans want the music,
Yeah.
you know. So it's quite a sad case. But I think out of that, you know, just that awakening and realization that as much as, you know, sometimes you are fed the idea that somebody else has to do it for you, this is the beauty of how the industry is today, that you can wake up one day and decide, I'm going to release music, and not necessarily need a major label to help you to do that. And so that those kind of barriers being broken is a great thing, I think, in terms of the possibilities of artists being able to be independent. You know, and for that I've enjoyed. I just want the CD to come back. I think the LP is back now, which is great.
Which is
Maybe
a beautiful thing, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to print some LPs, but I think, yeah, the good old days of just, you know, the hard copy was a thing, you know.
The taking out of the sleeve.
Taking it out of the
getting
sleeve,
into your car, not wanting any visitors or friends. You want to be alone in your car. You want to put it in. You want to open and read the thank yous, the credits, the smell of that sleeve, right?
The thank yous and the credits. I think that's another thing about it.
As you are listening to the intro of your favorite artist and you're just reading the credits.
Yeah, the lyrics. Yeah.
That experience,
the experience was everything, I think.
What I like about the now is the technology has made it easier for the whole world to consume the music in a
definitely
click
in terms
of a button.
Absolutely.
But I really feel we're being taken advantage of. I think I think for the number of streams that we're doing, it's like we are just slaving away for them over there to really know how much money they're making behind the scenes, and we don't know. We just get told.
Yeah,
you made 1 million streams, this is how much you're getting.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. I listened to Snoop Dogg the other day saying for 1 billion streams, he got a check for $45,000. And then I multiplied that by South African currency. And I was like, that's times 18. That is still not 1 million. That's a little under 1 million. Okay, let's just say it's 1 million. 1 million for 1 billion streams for Snoop Dogg.
Can you imagine?
Imagine
how much more?
You know what I mean?
No, definitely. I think the slavery aspect of how the system is set up is still very much there. I think you're right to use the word slaving. It kind of feels like it if you look at it. I don't know, someone was telling me that Drake recently released, but, you know, put his stuff on the website. Yeah,
he just put it up. But then Drake has got a 400 million rand deal, I think, with Universal Group. Okay. I stand to be corrected, guys. So but apparently they instructed him to remove, because he can't just release stuff and give it to us for free.
Right.
They have to make money out of that too.
No, let's cut some people out.
This slave can't just release on its own. That we must also get a cut there. Can you imagine?
I know. I think if there was a way, and I'm sure that there are other artists who do it differently. There definitely is a way, obviously, of releasing your stuff and doing it directly.
Zonke did. She
did website,
Barking USBs.
I love it. Yeah.
And she would. Barking, I think she sold them on her shows.
I love it. Yeah.
And she would sell out. Zonke
I think
sells
that should
out.
that should be the future way of really looking at it as artists trying to gain something out of your work.
Because we've been taken advantage of.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
1 + 1 is not 2.
It's not adding.
It's not adding up. Man, this mathematics is not mathematicking. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But then again, there's other streams.
Yeah.
And how's those streams been for you?
Look, I think
shows,
one of the things,
merchandising,
merchandising, we've just recently, I've just recently done a collaboration with Aranda, which has been a great platform. You know, Aranda is the manufacturers of blankets, just generally across the board on the continent, and I think in particular Sana Marena, the Basotho blanket.
I was about to say Aranda, the Lesotho company.
Yeah, they're actually a South African-based company.
I thought they were a Lesotho company.
They produce the Sana Marena.
Yeah, I know they do the Sana Marena. They also do different blankets.
Yeah, and you know, it's a great, it's one of our national kind of treasures, I guess, if I can put it like that. You know, one of the attires that represents the culture. And I've recently done a collaboration with them. my blanket is titled Kobo ya Poloko.
But where is it though?
Hey!
Now mine is here. Where's yours?
What's
Come
going on? What have I done?
How can
Waiting. I'm not proud.
That's a nice outfit, by the way.
Thank you very much.
And who's that?
So this is me, just in terms of like I've kind of just been building up the fashion aspect of who I am, and so I come up with my own kind of designs, and I have a seamstress who does stuff for me. And so when you talk about other streams of ways of creating those avenues for business, I'm looking at, after this Kobo ya Poloko platform, I'm going into merchandising, and I think that's a big aspect of making business for artists, so
Koba's gonna do well.
It's done. That's why I'm not wearing it, because we just launched it at King's Cross.
Like, it's supposed to be here,
we
though.
Sold
like,
out.
We're supposed to have put that Kobo here, actually. You know what I mean?
We sold out.
How much you sell one for?
1.4.
Oh, that is very affordable.
It's
That's
not bad,
nice.
Ne? Yeah.
And what's the brand?
It's called Kobo ya Poloko.
Your brand is called Kobo
ya Poloko.
Ya Poloko.
Ya
Poloko.
Poloko.
Oh, ya Poloko is
salvation.
Salvation.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay.
Yeah. It was I think the idea really was just to honor my late grandmother, and I'm glad I was able to tell her about it before she passed on as well. Just a woman of faith that was obviously an inspiration to me in my own walk and relationship in my own spiritual work with Christ. So I wanted to honor those teachings that she passed on to us as her children, Yeah.
Your spiritual groundedness.
Yeah.
You said you're a woman of faith.
Yeah.
And you're bringing your children up at the church.
Absolutely.
And how has that relationship been with the Lord?
Look, I think the mistake that we often make as people is believing that we do all we do in our own strength, and then when life reminds you that, hi man, there are things that are beyond you, you get back to that place where you get back on your knees. And I think 2017 was the year for me in terms of seeking first the kingdom of God, and all the things are added unto us when we do that first, So it's one of the biggest lessons that we hold dear to our hearts as parents for our kids, is to teach them how to pray, to teach them that there is a God, and He very much is with you, and the Holy Spirit lives in you, and you can have a personal relationship with Christ, So, like I say, my daughter prays for me when I go to an event, and it's such a beautiful surprise. When she did it the first time, I was like, wow, these teachings really do reach their hearts, and they get it. I think they'll get it more now while they're this age and this young. And then, of course, they grow up, and sometimes your children will deviate from the path that you obviously set them on. But, God's word says, raise a child up in the ways of the Lord, and they will not depart from it. So even if they take a short left, they'll always find their way back. And I think it's an important part of how I have chosen to raise my kids.
And then do you take them along sometimes when you're touring?
I think my daughter's seen me perform twice. There's, in the work that we do, there's no space for little children running around, demanding this and that. But I had the opportunity of being with Nomi Superstar at one of her...
Oh, Nomi!
At one of her community.
I miss you, Nomi.
Yeah,
Nomi,
she's
by
so
the way,
amazing.
is Thandiswa's younger sister.
Yeah, she's so incredible. So she does a lot of community work, and we were cleaning up a park at a point in Soweto, I think a year or two back, and I brought my daughter along to have the experience, and Mommy got to sing, and you're there performing, hoping that she's like finally getting and understanding what I do, and she was so disinterested. I was like, did you see me? Did you see me?
She wants to go back to TikTok.
And she's like,
yeah.
No, I don't. We don't let them do too much of that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, she was just, in her own world. I think she was more drawn to the experience of the cleaning up and the kids around her. She didn't say much about my performance. She was just like...
It's okay. She'll get it.
Yeah, she'll get right.
As long as she's there, it's good. I get her to sell more files. Sometimes she gets bored while I'm podcasting. She's sitting over there. But it's good. She'll get it one day.
Yeah, I love that. So important.
Very important. And then how's your youngest one?
He's a lot of energy. I think boys are just generally, you can never be ready. No one prepared me. I think when you have a girl first, you're expecting the same kind of
experience.
and it's completely different. I think he takes much more out of me but it's in a beautiful way. I mean, he's just got a lot of energy, and he's starting to talk now, which is sweet. He's turning 4. He just turned 4.
He's just turned 4. Congratulations.
He just turned 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So full sentences are coming out of his mouth, and
Nice.
it's like, able to express himself. I think my children are very sweet.
So what did you do, both of them? Did you do natural? Did you do cesarean, the other one, or what? How was the experience?
Natural for both.
For both?
Yeah,
Is
natural
it?
for both.
Why natural? Why not cesarean? Did you consider cesarean, and why?
No,
Or why not?
no, I've never necessarily thought of a C-section as an option.
Yeah.
I've just believed that I'm capable as
Nice.
a woman.
Nice.
And not to say if you go through C-section you're not, but I just believed that I was going to be able to go through that labor process and be fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I know it's Women's stuff. It's Women's Month. Hey,
Right?
we celebrate you, you
Okay.
guys. You know what I mean? You guys have been amazing.
Yeah.
And I've always been looking forward to this sit down. Now let's talk about this. This year was your best year yet in a long time. You were
Yeah.
saying a lot of great things have been happening this year.
Yeah, so I mean, we were working on the Gitlofihla experience, a tour that we've been working to set up for the 21-year celebration. And we've kind of done a couple of, smaller shows just to reconnect with the audience, because I've really been away from Johannesburg, I think, also in terms of performance for a while. And we've had a couple of great sold out shows. They've been sold
Nice.
out back to back, so
Well
that's
done.
been really amazing.
Well done.
I'm looking forward to the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz, I think, as well as one of the highlights for me this year.
Yeah.
I worked at T Music Man, which is a production company that
Oh, you used to work there?
I used to work there. So
Ntate Tladi?
yeah, in
You
between.
used to work with them?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
lovely.
yes.
Okay.
A lovely family that has been passionate, so passionate about keeping jazz music alive in South Africa. And I think one of the great things about the platform is how they found different ways to create different stages as well. So even if it's not mainstream jazz, case in point, I think they've really opened up just the platform for young people. I know they have a stage where they'll be having some DJs as well be part of the festival. My stage is called the Mbira stage. On the 27th of September I'll be
Nice.
performing. Yeah, and that's more of like, African inspired music, more Afrofusion type of sound as well. And I think that's just the thing though about jazz, is that it's always been like a fusion of different genres coming together. So the experience is going to be incredible for me. I think I'm very excited about that.
I'm looking forward to this year's Joy of Jazz too.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Keiko Matsui.
Yes,
I know she's
a
coming.
popular
I'm looking forward to
artist.
Yeah, she's very popular.
Yeah.
But I also like the mixture between international and local.
And local,
artists,
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the brand Joy of Jazz has grown. It's been around for
Yeah.
20 years plus as well.
I think it's 25 years that they're
25 years, no?
celebrating this year. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. So you're performing there?
27th of September, Mbira stage. I'll be performing, I think, after Bongeziwe Mabandla, who's also done.
That's going to be nice. That is I'm going to see you for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, Bongeziwe Mabandla and Joe Nina as well is going.
Grootman's going to be there.
Yes, he's going to be there. We're sharing the same stage. Mikasa, I think, as well.
Mikasa, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be, man, like, I don't think people I see people say, I'll buy the tickets, and then come September, people are trying to get tickets and they're sold out. So
Kodwa ke ba rata di last
Eh,
minute.
di
Why
last
ni so
minute,
mara
man.
manyama, eh? Why le rata di last minute? Ay, that weekend or that week. Can I please get they are sold out.
They're sold out.
Ulaegile. That's why, because you didn't buy on time.
Yeah.
But I think they're slowly changing. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's a
for
new
sure.
generation. I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's easier to. I think they're using Ticketmaster, if I'm not mistaken, as the. It's just easy to purchase these days. So
Yeah.
I think people are, accustomed to the idea of go follow the link
Yeah.
and get your tickets.
And what are we expecting on that Mbira stage? By the way, Mbira, guys, for those who don't know, it's an African instrument, musical
Yes.
instrument.
Yeah.
That's why they call the stage Mbira. So it's African inspired ensembles.
Yeah. Look, I have so much music to go through. I think it's so difficult for me when I put together a set list to put it together within the space of an hour, because I know that there are people who want me to sing Uzungilinda, till today. I know that there are people who are looking forward to having Chimsoro. I mean, those are the songs that I don't get to do without. But it's great also to have the opportunity to put together a very big band, which is what we'll have on the stage. I've been adding a violinist as well to my set recently,
nice. Okay.
which has been a nice experience, having that kind of classical instrument. And it's just, I mean, the violin pulls at the strings of your heart, so I love that. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be the best of MALEH's music over the last 21 years, including some of the Kaya songs as well. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible experience. I mean, we just came back from the Bushfire Festival, which was also like one of the bigger stages that I did this year. The experience was incredible. So
Bushfire has also grown, eh? It's been around, I think, also 20 years, maybe?
Yeah, someone was saying on the BBC, or is it CNN? But like one of the top festivals in Africa, top 10. It's ranked that high.
It's big. I remember when it started, we were there.
Yeah.
We've been there.
Yeah.
I always say to Ama 2000, we
We've
gave
been
birth to
there.
you guys during this era. Ke mo ne re tshola teng, we were busy giving birth to
Sheba.
Amapiano. Or we're busy
I love
manufacturing Amapiano.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. You've got the production and film production knowledge.
Yeah.
That you got and studied for at school. When are you exploring that? Are
I-
you writing any films? Are you filming? What are you doing there?
I definitely haven't started writing anything. I think there are a lot of stories to be told. I think one of the stories, King Moshweshwe,
Yeah.
that I don't think has necessarily been told to the extent that we ought to as Basotho tell that story. And I think if not for anything, maybe that should be one of my major projects that I start off with, just to make sure that we capture that story beautifully.
Very important.
Yeah.
I've just been watching the King Mojaji one. Oh, sorry, the Queen Mojaji one on Sundays.
Yeah.
Incredible story.
Yeah.
Incredible story.
Absolutely.
Although before they launched the first episode, I do know that a representative from the family, I think they were represented by Ntate Matole Mutsegam, I'm not sure. I stand to be corrected over there. But yeah, they were having a bit of a dispute with the actual family, the kingdom,
Okay.
the queendom.
Yeah.
But us as, consumers and lovers of history, it's just beautiful to see our own storytelling
Being told. Yeah.
manifesting itself through these amazing 2024 productions,
Visuals,
television
yeah.
productions.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So it would be dope to see or hear
Yes.
from you,
Yeah,
something
I
like
must.
that. Yeah.
I think I feel
the King Moshweshwe story.
I feel the pressure to absolutely to be a part of the group of creatives that are coming out of Maseru and Lesotho. I think we've had the conversation with a friend of mine who's a curator as well, and there's a museum in Murija that keeps a lot of the stories of Basotho and how Moshweshwe founded Lesotho and all of that. So certainly I must come back. The next time I come back here, I must be telling you about the launching of such a
I'm
project
looking forward
or
to that one.
documentary.
How did Moshweshwe found Lesotho?
Moshweshwe, hey, story sa Moshweshwe. I mean, you know about the Boers coming to Lesotho, wanting to take over. I mean, that's why Lesotho is really in the heart of South Africa, isn't it? Yeah. So particularly, we always tell the story of Thaba Bosiu and how at a time where the colonizers were coming in to take over, Moshweshwe o ne a le bohlale a tseba hore if we position ourselves on top of the mountain, then we're able to defeat them. And they tried several times to enter through that particular point. Yeah, Thaba Bosiu. Yeah. And yeah, I think that the history is very rich.
It's a larger story.
It's a larger story.
Please go get into it and research it even more.
Absolutely.
And let's tell it for our children,
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very necessary.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I also loved Shaga Ilembe. I loved that.
Yes, that was told so beautifully.
That was beautiful.
Absolutely stunning.
And they didn't cut corners also when it came to the production side of it.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at a story like that, are you looking at a film television production also? Or are you looking at a book or a stage theater type of work?
In studying film, I think what I found I was more passionate about was documentary filmmaking.
Okay.
And so I think that's why I mentioned a documentary. I think that's where I would start from.
Okay.
That's where I would like to start from. I think a documentary process would be the first place to start from. But I mean, the filmmakers that have come out of the country, Bading, and I think they're doing great work. And I think that industry definitely has space, certainly has space to grow. And we are here as creatives to go back home and do that. Yeah.
Now that you've put it out there and it's on camera, I want to chance.
The pressure's on,
So
right?
yes, because if you don't do it, somebody else will.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I always think like that. Like anytime I think of a great idea, and then I'm stalling, I'm procrastinating, I'm thinking, justice. Somebody else mustn't just launch this thing before I do. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm glad that we already put it out there because it puts you under pressure to go get
You'll
it done.
be watching, yeah, for
I will
sure,
be.
for sure.
And obviously you'll be working on the music of it as well.
So the music, I mean, when we discussed it, apart from a documentary, I've always wanted to do a musical. And I think theatre is a space that I've always wanted to explore as well. I used to do a lot of theatre in high school. So I think that's an aspect and a part of myself as a creative that I'd really love to explore. Yeah, I think definitely maybe a musical is what we should look into. The next Lion King.
So 2025.
I'm giving away all of my ideas now. They better not overtake me.
Do you know what you're doing? They will not overtake you
I'm
because
putting
they're
it out,
yours.
yeah,
Sometimes even if other
there.
people can take your ideas, they can never do them the way,
You would want to. Yeah.
Because this is where they come from.
Absolutely.
Right, but you're also under pressure to go make them happen. So the next time we talk here, we will be talking about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Let's wrap it up. And as we wrap it up, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Joy of Jazz. And the rest of the year? Because I know the film stuff, we'll probably see it next year. But now the rest of this year?
Look,
Musically,
a lot of performances. I mean, starting from August, it's been back-to-back kind of bookings coming through.
Nice.
Maybe I give away my social media handles for people to really kind of catch up on what's coming up. At MALEH_music on all the platforms is where you can follow me just to get the gig guide. Yeah.
Thank you very much for visiting us.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time and congratulations for everything.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I appreciate you so much and just the work that you do and the inspiration that you are to young people. We are watching you. We've been watching you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
And
so
I'm going to
much.
hold you to that collaboration.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes we speak about these things and life happens.
And that's
It's
true.
better to do it over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I love
like
it.
next week, how are available? Just one day.
Sheba.
Just 2-3 hours. We can come up with
We'll
something
hook it up.
nice.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Your last words to the audience on that camera over there?
Thank you for the love. Thank you for the support. And let's keep the hustle hustling. And, follow your dreams. Make them come true.
20 years from today, you're watching this video. You're an older woman. So what would you like to say to a 60-something or 50-something or 70-something year old self? You'll be watching this maybe with your grandchildren on the other side. What would you like to say to yourself?
Congratulations, darling. You did it. I'm very proud of you for sticking it out and making sure that you fulfilled that purpose. The whole you. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Love you, my sister.
Yeah.
Modimo Ohlonolo-Fate, and pass my regards to the family, the husband, and the kids.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, MALEH_music on all social media platforms. We'll see you on the next video. Go get the music and let's meet at the Joy of Jazz. Naklabe ke tshwaretse cup ya ka da ena le cold drink ya batho ba baholo. Ke tsamaya le mthwaka re tlo enjoy go shebile ko stage ka nako eo. We'll see you guys at the Joy of Jazz. Danko.